right, let's talk about a deal that you were under the gun and had to make happen. Was it this week?
It was this week.
All right, let's hear it. What happened?
So I received a brand new contract.
So it just pops up in your email basket.
Pops up in my email basket, and then I immediately received an urgent phone call from a client.
All right.
Who
You're like, another emergency from a wholesaler.
Yes, but this one really was an emergency.
Okay.
Because we got under contract with the seller.
Okay.
And 24 hours later, the seller is alerting them that they just received the foreclosure sale date notice.
Shocking. It just happened.
It just happened.
They've received no notice up until then because your head was in the sand like a fucking ostrich, Mr. Seller. But okay, we're here to help.
Yes. So
Okay.
I reached out to the seller. We got all of their seller docs done. I let them know that I was going to be reaching out to their mortgage company and would probably need their assistance to be able to communicate on their account.
Yeah.
Within the hour, I had the mortgage company on the line and the seller company or seller on the line, and
So getting them to give you information. right?
correct.
Yeah.
And then the mortgage company tells us that the foreclosure is in 72 hours.
Oh. Do you hear like in your ear like all of a sudden the clock starts
Yes,
ticking and faster and your heart's beating just as fast?
It was like that, the movie when you're trying to
Defuse the bomb. Yes.
You're down to that last
Oh,
second.
some little Mission Impossible music going.
Yes,
Dun,
so
dun,
that's
dun.
really what happens in the back of my head. I'm
Yeah.
just kind of like, okay, so here we are.
Here we go.
And
What's the wholesaler doing during this?
panicking?
Panicking, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think she was ready to wet her britches, to be honest.
Oh.
She just put all this money on the line.
Yeah.
And now here we are potentially losing everything
Mm-hmm.
to that foreclosure sale date.
Okay, so you have 72 hours. You get everybody on the phone. What do you do next?
I really and truly just asked the mortgage company, what's the fastest way to get my postponement request paused?
Yes.
And they actually laughed.
Because they're like, we hear this bullshit every day.
Yeah.
People trying to postpone the inevitable. Your person didn't pay for 6 months. We're taking this shit back.
Right.
Yeah.
So they let me know that I could fax and email the documentation to
Okay.
prove.
Fax. I know,
Yes.
right? Like, that's still happening in 2025?
That is still happening.
I know. It drives. Every
At
time I
least
see that
once a
bill come
week.
up for a fax machine every month, I'm like, you got to be shitting me. But we use it, like, all the time.
I think I use it more than anybody.
I
to be
know.
honest
I
with you.
know.
But so we faxed and emailed all the documentation in. I
Mm-hmm.
was able to get the foreclosure attorney on the line to let her know.
That's
that we
shocking
also
because
had-
that doesn't happen often,
It
right? That's a
doesn't.
struggle.
It is a struggle. You really have to push for that. But
Yeah.
obviously, with the urgency of 72 hours, I was extremely obnoxious.
Let's go. Let's get this done, right?
Yeah.
So how did that conversation go?
Actually, really well. That was the easy part.
Wow. Okay.
I let her know that we had a contract for purchase, that we
Mm-hmm.
had a expected close date for July 10th.
Mm-hmm.
And she said, okay, send me the documents and I'll get this paused.
Wow. Stunning.
Yes.
Right?
So I also emailed and faxed her the documents. So there's, 4
Yeah.
total emailed and faxes
Yeah,
to get
yeah.
everything over between the mortgage company and the attorney's office. And then the next day I called her back, making sure that she received everything because, it was done to the last minute. Like, I think it was 5:45 by the time I got off the phone with her. But it's fine.
Yeah.
It was worth it. So she did confirm she received everything, had everything requested and processed, and we were just waiting for the mortgage company to approve that now.
Wow. Okay.
So,
Which it wasn't a short sale, so they're getting paid 100% plus all the fees. The attorney's getting paid. Everybody's getting paid. So
correct. And when you see it up on the sheriff's auction, the price that they have listed is the beginning auction price.
right, which is usually what is owed, right? Like
So it's actually without the interest and attorney fees.
Oh, okay.
So that's just the net balance
I gotcha. Okay.
of the property. And then from there, they expect it to go above what's owed. And the bank keeps that. It doesn't go back to the seller.
Well, but once it gets above what's total owed, then the seller can petition or apply to get it back. It's a really weird thing, but
Yeah, they
mostly it
have to
doesn't
go through
happen.
a whole court hearing
Yeah.
and all the things, and most people don't have the money to
Right.
go through all of that, so they end up
Yeah.
losing that difference. So it really is beneficial for the sellers to have
Nice.
us go through all that process for them.
So from the time the panic call comes in from the wholesaler, we will call her Penelope because we're not going to use anybody's names here. How much time do you think you invested in making sure that this deal got over the finish line?
Day one, we were on the phone for 5 hours. Day two, we were on the phone for 3.5 hours. And then day of auction, because it was supposed to go on auction at 3:00 in the afternoon.
Yeah.
We spent the entire morning, so from 9
Wow.
a.m. to noon.
And what state was this in? I know you got probably like 200 deals going, but where was this one?
I want to say this one was Georgia.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's close. So, like, it was pretty high pressure.
Yeah.
It was either Georgia or Florida, one of the
Okay.
two.
All right.
But so the day of the auction, the attorney finally, after 3 hours on the phone, was able to confirm that she got through the management and the foreclosure department, and they confirmed that we could postpone. So we have a 90-day extension with the foreclosure department,
Nice.
so we can get to close.
So now the investor has time to find a buyer. Well, they'll probably have to double close, right?
No, actually, we are approved with the assignment contract.
Wow. So you saved the deal. We saved the homeowner from having a foreclosure.
Yes.
Right? The
The
wholesalers.
homeowner's walking away with $15,000 in their pocket.
Great, because they were going to walk away with jack shit at foreclosure.
Right.
And a foreclosure on their record. Wholesaler, what does she think she's going to make?
She's anticipating $27,000.
27,000 on a deal that otherwise could not have been done. Because I'll be honest, I could not have probably stopped this foreclosure. Like, I don't know how to do it. It's not the thing I do every day. This is why we have transaction coordinators. I'm closing my own deals right now, and Lee, one of our team leads, is closing my deals. So, like, trust me, I don't do that. I think that's amazing. Great job on that, by the way. That's
you.
awesome. Cool, very good. So if you have a deal, I'm not going to say we can stop every single one in 72 hours, but we've stopped a lot of them. But I think the key for our clients to understand is to, give these files to us as soon as possible.
Absolutely.
Right? Sometimes when I'm speaking to a group or I'm on stage, someone's like, oh, well, when I get the deal, I'll call you. And that's cool, man, but you're like, there's like 1 minute left in the game, and you're like, hey, bring in Tom Brady. Let's see if we can save this game. We have 99 yards to go, right? So the sooner we get these deals, the better it is. So for us, ideally, we like to get the contract the minute somebody's under contract with their seller, right?
Yes.
Cool. So let's talk through that process, because I talk a lot about it, but maybe I'm not explaining it right to people. I want to make sure they understand. So when this pops up in your email or on your computer, right? Like, what happens? Like, what is the process? What are you going through? Because your wholesaler, your client, like, they're off to their next deal. They're either trying to sell the deal, go get their next deal. They like hand it off to you and like, Hannah, I'm out. Best of luck to you. I'm going to go do my shit at Starbucks and get on some Zoom calls or scroll Facebook. Like, you take over from there. What happens?
So the first thing we do is review the contract to make sure that we have all of the information, and then make sure that we have all of the seller's contact information.
Okay, why is that important?
If we can't get in touch with the seller, we obviously can't verify any of the property details. We can't get them in touch with title once we open title. And we can't confirm whether or not they're in a foreclosure, a bankruptcy, any of these things that could potentially really be a time is of the essence item.
Because, one thing that I talk about a lot is our goal is to really compress time. And when I say compress time, get you fucking paid faster.
Yeah.
Right? So normally, and I know you probably don't know a whole lot about this life, outside of using a transaction coordinator, you're going to get your contract with your seller, you're going to get your buyer, then you're going to send it to the title company, and they're going to go, oh, you got 20 days before this closes. In 18 days, we'll look at this and we'll start working on it. Then all of a sudden it's a crisis, right? So what you do as a transaction coordinator is you want to look at this deal right away, right? And start seeing what are the potential conundrums that could pop up here, and how can I start solving that so that we can close this just as fast as possible.
Right.
Yeah.
So, like, if the seller tells me that, well, they haven't made a payment on their mortgage in 3 months.
Yeah.
Okay, well, this is pre-foreclosure type stuff.
Right.
We need to let the mortgage company know that we're looking at purchasing this property so that they don't go to actual foreclosure. Sometimes we can even prevent those attorney fees from being added because we stop it from even hitting the attorney foreclosure status.
Yeah. So it pops up in your thing. The first thing you're going to do is you're going to call the seller. Hey, Mrs. Smith, I'm working with Penelope or Josie or whoever on this deal. I'll be your point of contact from here all the way to a closing. And I think there's some trust that gets built up with these sellers because they feel good about us because we're communicating, we're professional, we know what we're doing. There's no, I'm really not sure, because how many transactions do you think you've done just you in the last year?
I've closed more than 172.
Yeah, so that means worked far more than that, because sometimes deals don't close. So yes, I think sellers like that. They're comforted by that. I know sellers sometimes tell us some wacky stuff, right?
Yeah.
different reel, but some of that could be not PG rated. But the wholesaler, our client, is able to go off and do the next thing. But when you're we call it a seller doc, but it's basically like an intake form, right? We're gonna bring in the seller, and you're asking a lot of questions, right? Like, it's a lot. It's 4 or 5 pages worth of stuff that, since our company founded, it started as like a little 1 page. It actually started at the bottom of my contract, where I'm like, let me see if I can help the title company out and get the name, phone number, email. That's where the seller doc actually started. And then it's evolved. Then it went to a 1-page document that we put on the back of our contract. And now our team has taken the ball and it's expanded into this massive proprietary document. We're not going to share it. Please don't ask. But like, what are the kinds of things that you're asking there?
So some of the most critical things are an HOA.
Mm-hmm.
Was the property inherited?
Yeah.
Do you have a will? Has it been probated?
Mm-hmm.
The foreclosure status.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously the mortgage status,
Yeah.
bankruptcy. And
Tenants.
yes, tenants.
Who else is on the deed?
Yes.
Are they going to show up? Is somebody in jail?
So even the jail thing is one of those things that sometimes we don't even get told that until the week before closing, and then it's like, well, how are they going to sign?
Mm-hmm. You know what I like about people in jail, though?
They're easy to find.
Bam! God, you took my joke. Oh, man. I was teeing you up there. They're easy to find. Yeah, they are. It's true. Have you done one with somebody in jail?
I have.
How hard was it for you? Because it's maybe not hard for you because you know all the right questions to ask, but like, how tough was it to get them to actually sign?
Actually, it really wasn't at all.
Really?
So I called the jail and I asked to speak with the warden. That way I could just lay it all out on the line and let them know.
I feel like getting a hold of the warden's like getting a hold of an attorney. Like, you're able to just talk to them?
Yeah, pretty much.
Huh, all right.
They're actually easier to get a hold of than an attorney.
Really?
Most of the time. Yeah.
They're looking for somebody to call them and not yell at them like breakfast, you serve my brother breakfast cold or something, right? It's a nice call.
Right. Well, so the warden actually keeps notaries on
Right.
on staff.
Yeah.
So to call and offer to pay their notary,
Yeah.
they want to be invested with us now.
Oh, interesting.
Because they're making money off of their notary. Their notary's probably only making a percentage of what they're actually invoicing us for the
Right.
notary fee.
Right.
So the warden or the jail is making a little bit of money on making sure that this person is available to sign, and then letting them know, like, is it possible to have a 5-minute conversation with them just so that I can explain what they're going to be seeing in this document and what to expect to sign? Most of the time, it's not a big deal at all.
Nice.
Or they'll at least just have me talk to whoever's going to play notary for them and let them know what they need to explain.
Nice. So if you've ever been doing a deal and somebody said, somebody that has to sign is in jail and you're like, holy shit, I don't know what I'm going to do. Maybe this is a dead deal. This is the power of having a transaction coordinator that has done this over and over and over again. One thing that I talk about a lot is like the worst thing that's ever popped up. The worst thing that's ever popped up in your deal is a Thursday for you. It's just another day. It's just the thing that we do every single day. So we were talking about that seller doc, that intake form. Like, it seemed like so many questions there. Most of them are like, no, 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 no. But all of a sudden you get, hey, are you behind on payments? Yes. Whoa. New set of questions, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. And this new set of questions can really save the deal from dying before it ever even hits the title company sometimes.
Yeah. Because I imagine what could happen is if I didn't have you working on my deal, then these things are found out with 3 days left on your contract. And then it's too late to fix it, right? This is why deals die.
Or sometimes the contract is after the foreclosure sale date.
Yeah.
And you don't find out till it's auction day, and your only way to remedy it is to go be the highest bidder.
Yeah.
And you don't want to have to put that out yourself.
Right. Well, you don't want to be out there bidding against other people. As an investor, we're trying to help sellers too. Like
Absolutely.
that's our job. So yeah, so important. This part of our job and we never know if the deal's going to close or not. You approach every single deal of, hey, I'm going to gather all of this information, and you're literally looking for the landmines.
Yes.
Like, what are the things that could blow this deal up so that I can fix this for our client, because our obligation is to our client, to you, to make sure you get paid.
Yes.
Yeah.
And when we get a deal, our anticipation is that deal is going to close.
Yeah.
The only time we decide it's not going to close is when you, the wholesaler, say, this one's off the table. You can throw it away.
Okay. Now I'm gonna gonna call you out here a little bit because you and I have had this conversation in our other office. We were like, I'm pretty sure it was you. Man, the wholesaler wants to kill this deal, but I can fix this. Like, we can make this thing happen. And I tell you, sometimes as an investor, King Banana Head, that we're like, oh, that thing's just not worth the trouble. But you as the transaction coordinator, because you see everything, you're like literally like the general overseeing all of this. Like, no, I can, one more string I can pull and we can make this happen.
Okay, you're right. I actually still have one of those on the table
Yeah,
right now.
right?
We're anticipating to close next week, but after the third buyer walked out, the wholesaler was pretty much just to throw this one out.
Fuck it, I'm done. This isn't going to happen.
I remembered something the seller had said initially about his brother-in-law really being interested in the property.
Yeah.
And so I suggested that the wholesaler reach out to the brother-in-law and see if he was still interested in purchasing the property.
Yeah.
And we're now just pending clear to close from his lender.
Yeah. And how much is he going to make on that?
75.
Okay. So again, 75,000. Tell me again how a fucking transaction coordinator isn't going to make you money this year. Very good. Those are great stories. Hannah, you're sitting at your desk. Boom, some new file pops up on your computer. But sometimes you look at it and you just got to shake your head and go, what the fuck is going on here? You were telling me about one yesterday. Tell me about this.
Okay, so this new file comes in, and it's very obvious that this is a brand new situation.
So probably a new client for us.
It is.
Right? It was a girl, a he, she, girl, he, him. Okay, cool. So he is a very new client, hasn't worked with us, has no benefit of any of the things we're doing. It's like their first deal. And I hired ezREIclosings. I want you to help me save my deals. But sometimes there's a little, we have resources for you because of exactly this. What happened?
It was very evident that this document was pulled from Google Docs, just an example template for a purchase contract.
So they got on, please give me a contract. And
it was just, it's pieced together. I mean,
yeah.
I recommended, and I don't normally recommend they redo their contracts, but I did recommend that they pull the contracts from the resources page.
Right. My contract that
Yes.
I've done 1,600 deals with, and now our clients have done thousands of deals.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I recommended that he pull that contract and have the seller sign that in addition to the original contract, just to make sure that he had his bases covered.
Right.
Because there was nothing stating what close of escrow should look like. There was nothing stating any potential extension for needs, any of those things, and it was just...
And contracts don't need to be complicated 14 pages. And honestly, the longer your contract is, the more confused your seller's going to get. I know when I'm doing a deal and I'm working with a realtor and my realtor sends me a contract, I'm like, oh, bro, have you read this? I'm like, can I just sign it? I'm not reading 14 pages. Our contract, very simple. It's one page. Honestly, if you comment contract below this reel or this story, I will send you a copy of our contract so you can have it. So what did you say? And I know you're not their coach, you're not their guru, but like, hey, maybe you could just fill this out and just send it to the seller and say, hey, I've updated a couple things, right? What did you say?
I just kind of put it more like if you would like for this to look more of like a professional deal going forward, I would just let the seller know that, hey, that was just a preliminary basis just to make sure that we were on the same page.
Very good.
And that this is our official contract so that we're under a legal binding agreement here so that you're safe and so am I.
Great way to salvage it. Nice. And again, it's a simple one-page contract. What I tell people is, hey, it's just one page. It's very easy to understand. It's so simple a third grader could understand it, because then who's going to question it? You're like, oh, if a third grader can understand it, surely I can understand it. So, and that worked good?
It did. It worked really well. The seller was happy to sign it. She actually was glad that it was more clear about what the steps were.
Very simple.
Because it is absolutely step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4. Expectation of close.
Yeah. But there's a lot of great stuff in there. I've actually had attorneys call me and go, oh, I thought this was going to be stupid, this contract, when you sent it to me, a one-page piece of trash, but I read it and there's actually like a lot of stuff. And I'm like, I know. It's pretty good. It's what happens when you do this for 20 years. You whittle it down, because we just want it to be as simple as possible. So that worked, and this wholesaler is going to close this deal, we think?
Yes, we actually already have a buyer now, which he was smart and used the resources for his buyer contract.
For the buyer contract, that matches up perfectly.
Yes.
And what's he going to make on this? Do you remember?
This one is slated for 75, 80,000.
80,000?
Yeah.
Holy shit. You're doing some big closings for clients.
Yeah.
Wow. It's every day. We do $80,000, making $80,000 for these people all the time.
I think the smallest one I've seen in the last couple of months is 35.
Really?
Yeah.
So would you say you're seeing like wholesalers' assignment fees are getting bigger right now?
Yes.
Really?
Yes.
Wow. Because there's a lot of people out there like, oh, it's the end of the world. Wholesaling's dead.
No way.
No.
No, it's absolutely up. Last year, this time, we were probably looking at 20,000 as an average assignment fee, and now that's considered chump change for most of these guys.
Really? Let me ask you this, and this is where you can toot your horn and the team's horn. Like, do you think that deal would have closed without you?
No.
Okay. All right. Awesome. Well, I appreciate what you're doing. I know our clients do, and I don't know if we say that enough, but you guys are absolutely awesome. People always tell me like, "Oh, you're like so great in our like easy." I'm like, "Bro, I don't do jack shit. I sit in here running my mouth all day. The real work is done out there on the other side." So, great job.
Thank you. We have an incredible team.
We do.
In all honesty, when I get my deals, I'll be sending them in for another TC.
It's 100% true. You know, funny story. My mom, before she passed away, had to move a couple properties around for her estate and get them deeded into the trust and everything. And I'm like, Mom, this is what I do. This is my whole company. Because my mother was 78. She had no idea what she did. I mean, I had to show her like me on TikTok and speaking in front of groups. She's like, oh, that's impressive. I'm like, it's okay. But I'm like, this is what we do. We're in the real estate title business. I can do this. Literally 5 months, she kept asking me, have you done it? I'm like, oh, yeah. I'm going to get to it. Yeah, I'm going to do it. Very typical, like a wholesaler, right? Because we're all busy. We're running around. Like, had I leaned my head out my office door and said, can somebody do 5 quick claim deeds for me? Like, you guys would have had it done in 30 minutes. Yep. Finally, I had to have the other hand. I come over to her house and do these quick claim deeds and sign it, and it was done in like 14 minutes. This is not, you should not feel bad as a wholesaler that you suck at this. It's okay. I suck at it too. It's not the thing we're good at. This is what you have a transaction coordinator for. Also, you don't want you getting on the phone like cold calling, right? That's not your gig.
No, that's not my gig.
I don't want to do that at all.
My son is the wholesaler in the
Yeah.
family. I'm the paperwork person.
Yeah.
That's just how we work.
So get yourself a transaction coordinator, ezREIclosings, comment easy below. We will send you a link. Let's jump on a call. Let's show you how we can save these deals.